Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
Getting down with Fresh Out, Prison Talk. You know how we do it over here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It came to my attention late last night through a friend that 49er Ricky Pearsall was shot while going to an autograph signing at Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco. They said he was shot Saturday and that he was hit in the chest and the bullet exited his back. The thief was also shot and they both were taken to the hospital. The 17-year-old apparently tried to rob Ricky for his Rolex watch, and there was a struggle with the gun and the gun went off. Man, you know, I've been in the juvenile system. I've been in the adult system. I own up to my mistakes, and I had to learn some hard lessons, man. Some lessons that had I not learned, I wouldn't be able to share this platform with you. But I don't candy coat anything. I don't blame lack of a father, single mom, or, you know, growing up over here or this or that for my mishaps. And a lot of these youngsters, they need to be held accountable. And this just goes to show you that even the people who try to be role models, athletes, people who have made it to a certain level, just successful people. I mean, obviously, if you have a nice watch, you've earned it. You know, want to show that, hey, man, this is something I always wanted, and you're proud of it. These kids don't care. These youngsters do not care. They're gonna have to start busting their heads. They're going to have to start busting their heads, man, with some time. And this is all part of what's led up to this is the soft on crime. And, you know, you're like, you're an ex-robber. Look, I did a decade, man. I had to go sit my ass down. I did some effed up stuff. You guys are going to have to start going to sit down. That's the only way they're going to learn. Getting out 10 months later or 15 months later, for crimes where you're using a gun, these people, they don't learn no lesson, man. And obviously the parenting at home is not going down. And as far as opportunities, man, a lot of these kids, they have an opportunity. They just don't care. It ain't like back in the 70s and the 60s where you had to go down to Job Corps and there was no way to get a business license and you couldn't start your own little entrepreneurial business, whatever. Nowadays, you can do stuff right on your phone. My first business, man, I had to go down and find City Hall, figure out how to fill out an application to get a business license. I did it by myself. Nobody told me anything about how to do it. There was no Google or internet to figure out how to, you know, go about doing that. But I had to go do it. And then I had to go find a warehouse that sold t-shirts wholesale and negotiate with the owner to get the pricing. Then I had to go find somebody who did the silk screen print. Then I had to go find somebody who did the embroidery, because I did embroidery too. I had to run around. You know, I didn't know really what I was doing. I had no business model. I didn't have a plan. I just was like, I wanted to do clothing, and it was a way for me to not be in the street selling drugs, because that wasn't the plan. You know, I mean, that wasn't anything long term I saw myself doing, but I got involved in street stuff in the process. And now you can do all that stuff on your phone. And these kids are still running around, still in the rollies, man. And then they go on Instagram and they post the videos and they're flossing, they're holding up the money like it's talking to them. It's like, man, the ignorance is at an all-time high. And I don't see any celebrities, none of the athletes coming out and calling it what it is. And these these places where the crime is out of control, they're like, well, don't give them more time. Look, man, if you talk to somebody and they still want to pull a pistol on you, they don't need to be in society. If they put the pistol, if they say, hey, you know what, you're right, then those are the kids you help. You can't help everybody. Some of these little youngsters, they're demons and they need to be exorcised. They need an exorcism. And in prison, hopefully they'll get the exorcism, find God, and get out and be better people in society. But running around and just thinking that, oh, well, that's little Billy, he's not that bad. He just had a few bad incidents. He's robbing people, man. He needs to be sat down, not talked to. He needs to be sat down because he's going to end up killing somebody and then be in life in prison and then take somebody away from their family. All over a watch, man. All over a watch. And if they would have been busting these heads earlier, you wouldn't have people just doing this now where it's just blatant broad daylight. And an athlete, I don't know. He didn't have. I don't know if he had a 49er uniform on or not. But it doesn't matter. It's no respect. It's no respect. And San Francisco is out of control, anyways. They're robbing everybody out there. They don't care. Oakland, out of control. Broad daylight, man. People are like, oh, that's my town. I grew up there too. I used to hang out there, skateboard all over San Francisco. Loved it when I lived there. Now, I mean, robbing in the middle of the street, people taking you, that's the new normal? And the people that have all the money, just because they ain't been hit, they don't say nothing. They walk with their head down. They're not questioning any of this stuff. Man, it's just disgusting to see this. And it doesn't matter if it is a, athlete, entertainer, just a hardworking person in general. You should not have somebody take your shit. And I've been on the other end. So I'm not saying, that, hey, that what I did was right, because if I would have had my head busted, which I did, then I had it coming. You can't run up in people's houses. You can't pull guns on people and not think there's a consequence to it. There's consequences to your actions. And until you learn those consequences, you're not going to change. You're going to keep doing the same shit until you get a consequence you can't walk away from, and somebody really gets hurt, or you take a life, and then you're sitting there stupid, and you're sitting there stupid, and then when those 5, 10, 15, 20 years hit, you're sitting there, you're an old man, nobody you knew on the street is around anymore. You're like, man, all over a watch. All over a watch, man. God, it's just disgusting, man. I don't understand why it's even, I do understand. When you're a knucklehead and you're tuned in, and this is the thing too, nobody talks, but there's a frequency out there right now. And music, it has vibrations. I could tell just by a lot of the hip hop now that I'm more mature in spirit and mental, that I can feel a vibe. And when you listen to certain, if you're caught up listening to a certain frequency, and I'm not trying to blame hip hop, it's not hip hop, it's just frequency. It's like listening to negative conversation all day. Negative conversation is going to lead to you doing negative shit and you having a bad outlook on life. And so if you're around negative people, and if you talk about crime all day, you talk about stealing, rob, it's easy for those seeds to be watered as far as the negativity seeds, and then it makes it easy for you to gradually act on them. And like I said, I'm talking from experience. So when you're being programmed, which a lot of these young people have been programmed now, and they're just on autopilot, they don't realize until they get put in a cell, checked inside a place where all that shit is removed as far as the freedom, then they like, wow. And sometimes it don't kick in for 5-6 years. You're under the influence of drugs, you're high off of just, doing what you've been doing for so long. It doesn't really compute. But there is a program, and like I said, I'm not blaming hip hop. I'm just saying if you're listening to certain music, if you're around certain people, you're tuned into a certain vibration, it attracts a certain energy, you act on it, somebody bumps into you, want to take off. There's a certain frequency for all that. And until you understand frequencies and energy levels and how all this shit works, you're not going to be able to change your behavior and who you are as a person. And I'm not trying to be a hypocrite or preach to you guys. I'm just sharing. You can say what you want. I've lived a life. I'm not bragging about it. I don't glorify any of the shit I did. I'm not, I've done some stuff, but it's nothing to be like, oh man, like it made me some G or something. It made me a fool, man. I was doing the dumb shit. I've done some dumb shit, but now I'm trying to save some lives. And a lot of you guys have ruined your lives. These are people that if you talk to them, you could have bought a Rolex messing with them. If you would have worked with them, who knows? Maybe you could have got a job working for the 49ers. Maybe the guy would have helped you out. Like, hey man, I really look up to you. Do you think you have anything I can do down there? I'll wash equipment. I'll chalk the field. Anything, man. It's like, God, there's other options. We don't have to just be robbing and stealing from each other. And then, people get mad like, oh, well, there's got to be a crime. Some people only understand barbarians. A barbarian only understands another barbarian. He doesn't understand a farmer that's trying to feed him a hot meal while he's trying to violate his family. He doesn't understand that. He only understands you confront him with a sword. And then he's like, oh, he respects that. There's no respect right now. There's no respect in the streets, man. There's none. Not for these youngsters, not for the level of crime. In certain towns, there's respect because they know people got pistols and they'll pop their ass. Yeah, if you take something, you get popped, and you're in the wrong. You're basically doing time on top of it, leaving the hospital and whatever type of condition. Then you think twice. But these places where they have the strictest gun laws, they don't care. They're still robbing, still doing the stuff. And even in the places where they carry guns, people want to sometimes test them. It's about people taking responsibility, accountability, the parenting, and at the end of the day, a lot of young people, man, it's like, there's no hope, man. There's so much hope, so much opportunity. You got so many YouTube channels, so many people, social media platforms that are doing good. You don't have to do the negative. Every time, the negative, man, you only get away with it so much. You think, oh man, you got away, you done robbed a couple of dudes, whatever, but it only takes that one day. You rob the one person and he blows your head off, or he incapacitates you where you got a dookie bag, and then you're thinking, man, was it worth it? Then you're going to get probably caught up for all the other ones, because if you get caught up or somebody gets caught up that knows you and they tell about all the other robberies you did, now you're doing 30 years for a bunch of robberies, and then you're working for 15 cents an hour. I just try to share, man. You can call it what it was. I mean, I'm speaking from walking in that world and the psychology, and there's guys I've talked to. Some of them haven't learned their lesson. Some of them never want to learn a lesson. Some guys I've seen get out after doing 15, 20 years for robbery, go rob again and come right back because they're conditioned. And it's just some people, man, it's just life. You can't fix everybody, but you can help some people. But this right here is just a sad situation, because at the end of the day, this guy, went through college and, was representing the city in a positive way, not in a negative way. And, on the way to an autograph signing, got shot. I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Share the channel, man. Support. I always put positive stuff out here. And a lot of times the algorithm would prefer me to glorify a lot of the other stuff, and I don't. So I'm just asking you, man, to support the channel. Leave a comment. Give a shout out, man. And if you want to collab on something, holler at me. FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. FreshOutSeries.com for merch. Big Herc 916. Fresh out.
I'm Big Herc, and I have over a decade of experience in the prison system. Yeah, I've done a lot of time, made a lot of stupid mistakes, but that's why I'm here with you today, educating you on the Mastermind program by Fresh Out. See, they don't give you a manual when you go to jail on how to survive. They don't tell you how to go take a shower, where to sit at when you go to chow, what to do when you have mail call, how to handle your commissary. So we cover that and a multitude of other topics that are very important, because if you do the wrong thing, you can get your damn wig split. We have over 100 million views as of date on our YouTube channel, but we've put and condensed all this knowledge into this Mastermind program
so that you can provide your client with a winning chance. Do yourself a favor and your client a favor and sign them up for our program so they don't have to get their wig split and they can make it out alive.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in.
Fresh Out Ministries, we're doing a new program where we're doing a takeover of a mom pop cafe or restaurant, and we're doing a pay it forward. So we're going to offer free meals at this particular restaurant or cafe, mom pop, for a certain amount of time, and we are asking that you make a donation to pay it forward so that we can continue doing this program for other mom pop restaurants and cafes, because we know that it's hard times out here. You have a lot of people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And so we're actually walking the walk. We've been doing it for over 11 years on social media. We've been getting shadow banned. We've been getting demonetized. So we want to give back, and this is our way of giving back to helping everybody through these trying times with this economy. You know, a lot of churches, they got $100 billion, and you don't see them out here helping the people who are in times of need, but they're still taking in the form of donations. But how's it helping the community? We want to build a community sense where we help each other, we can all overcome. You can't sit around waiting for somebody to save you. You got to save yourself. And this is the way you do it. So by us being able to do these takeovers with Fresh Out Ministries, with the mom pop restaurants and cafes, we want to build a film, talk to you guys, get your feedback on what's going on right now in society. Hopefully you guys find it in your heart to donate. This donation, which is a pay it forward, will allow us to do other mom pops around the country eventually. But right now we're going to be in Southern California and Los Angeles, Orange County. So hey, reach out to your local businesses there. And if you are out of town in another area and you would like us to come there, if you provide the necessary means, we will come there also and do the same pay it forward. But right now, hey, if you're in locally in Los Angeles, Orange County, hit us up, freshoutseries@gmail.com. You can also make a donation on our link tree on our Instagram at Fresh Out Series.